great day planned for you all. How excited are you all to hear from amazing ambassadors today?
Yeah.
This is the second World Tour training that Todd and I have been fortunate to be a part of, and we got a third one coming up in Tahoe too, so we are super, super excited about that. And I know you've heard a lot from David and Todd talking and some of the other ambassadors, but this has kind of just been our, first year checking this out, but there's been so many amazing results and feedback on the World Tours with the ambassador trainings. So wait till you see what's coming next year. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Our company has just, we're in our 12th year of business, and I think most of you know we are debt free. We've had some ups and downs as a company too. Todd and I are in our 12th year along with the company, and we have seen some really good times with the company and some really rough times. I think some of you have even heard that at one point our entire team quit on us. Like literally our entire team quit on us, and I think David thought we might quit too, but Todd and I believe in David and Adela Hart. We believe in this company, and we have seen some amazing things happen since then. At that moment when we decided to stay with Trevorium, we put our feet down, went to work, and we have changed our lives because of this company. Before Trevorium, we worked hard like everybody else, barely getting by, paying the bills, and I worked a corporate job where it took a big toll on my health. I went through cancer, barely hung on to my job, and we just decided to keep pushing through, but Trevorium has changed our lives because now, 2 years ago, I was able to walk away from my corporate job of that, yes. And I get to spend every day with him and travel the world, so how lucky am I?
And not so much applause for that one.
But our company, we are in our 12th year. We continue to add staff every single day for people who are at the home office yesterday. Wasn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah. You got to see and meet some of the people, and we keep adding more staff. And we are definitely in pre-momentum right now. We have doubled in size every 8 months. Every 8 months. And we are 3 times larger today than we were 1 year ago today.
Wow.
That is pretty amazing. So you guys hear about the growth going on with the company. We now have 3 offices. We have, they're setting one up in Kazakhstan. We have one in Madrid, Spain, and in Temecula, California. So you guys couldn't be in a better place at a better time because things are a lot of fun. For some of us ambassadors, you hear Deborah and you've heard Danny talk about some of the growing pains that we've gone through too. And like I shared about, some of what Todd and I've gone through, but we've kind of a lot of the ambassadors have paved the way for the rest of you, and it's going to be an incredible ride. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my husband and let him continue to talk to you. He is my best friend. We love to spend together every day.
I would be lost without her. She is the rock and the backbone of our family. So, I love you.
I love you too.
As Gina was talking about the explosion of the company, the explosion of sales that we're having as a company, it took me and Gina 9 years. We moved the company 12 years. It took us 9 years to get to 500,000 a year. It took Daryl and Maria 6 years to get to 500,000 a year. It's taken Igor and Larissa 2 years to get to 500,000 a year. It's taken Golson in Kazakhstan probably about 15 months to get to 500,000 a year. It is the acceleration of the company that we are experiencing, right? Again, we are doubling in size every 8 months. We will do $50 million in sales in the next 12 months, but that's assuming nothing changes. We keep growing, we keep doubling in size. Guys, we are on the precipice of going out and becoming $1 billion company, all right? And I'm going to back that up with some facts and some figures and some stats for you guys today. But I just want you to know where you sit. We are still at the very beginning. The top income earners have not even joined the company yet. And I've made this joke for probably 5 years. People say, oh, Todd and Gina, they're the #1 income earners. Guys, we've not even begun the race yet. It took Starbucks 16 years to get to 17 stores. It took them 16 years to get to 17 stores. Starbucks. You can't go 3 city blocks without seeing a Starbucks. They got 55,000 stores, okay? The company's we're only in our 12th year. We're not in our 16th year like Starbucks, we're in our 12th year. Todd and Gina have the number 1 Starbucks out of the 17 we have, right? Guys, this race hasn't even begun yet. The company is still at the beginning. The top income earners have not yet joined, but yet we're seeing countless people have their lives changed dramatically because of what we're doing, okay? Now, number 1, we are in the travel space, okay? That is the single largest industry in the world. In fact, travel is currently twice the size as the oil industry. Maybe some of you have heard there's a little bit of money in oil, okay? A little money in gasoline. So the oil industry does about $5 trillion a year. Travel currently does $10 trillion. But according to Bloomberg Finance, travel is going to grow at a rate of 50% in the next 9 years. It will become a $15.5 trillion industry, 3 times the size as the oil industry. It will represent 11.6% of the global economy. So out of every $100 that's spent anywhere in the world, $11.60 is spent in the category of travel. Guys,
Wow.
You can't get any bigger, any better than travel. It's easy to talk about. It's the one thing everybody wants to do. The most commonly shared dream in the world is the dream of wanting to travel the world, okay? So we have an explosion in travel. Can we all agree?
Yes.
Okay. And if you don't know, some of that's being driven by demographics. My father just turned 79 years old. He's a baby boomer, okay? The baby boomers control half the money in our country. If you are 79 years old, you're retired, you got money, and you've never gone to Paris, or you've never gone to whatever that dream destination is, okay? Tick, 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 tick. It's now or never, right? So you got the baby boomers driving travel. You've got the millennials. We happen to have 3 daughters. They're 39, 36, and 31. They're millennials. They would rather have experiences than things. You've got the millennials and Gen Z both. They don't want luxury items. They want experiences. And they represent 62% of the global economy. This is why travel's absolutely exploding. Now, at the exact same time that you have travel exploding, we are having an economic crisis around the globe, okay? Now, I'm going to put the numbers in the USA terms, okay? But this is a global epidemic, okay? And I'm going to back up for a moment, and I'm going to date myself. I was born in 1970. And when I was born, I grew up watching those shows on TV where one person working could provide an average middle-class lifestyle, okay? But the government kept printing money. So when the government doesn't want to raise taxes on people, but they want to keep buying things, they just print more money. But that makes the money you have less valuable, which means the cost of things go up. Well, the cost of things are going up faster than wages. So eventually one person working wasn't going to get it done anymore. We're no longer middle class. We're falling behind. What are we going to do? Somebody here has got to get a part-time job, okay? All right, so somebody went and got a part-time job. We're back to middle class. Life is good again, okay? Well, they kept printing money, right? Causing things to get more and more expensive. The expensive things were going faster than wages. Eventually, one person working full-time, one person working part-time was no longer getting it done. Both people have to get a full-time job, okay? So they both went and got a full-time job. We're back to middle class. Life is good again, right? Well, till eventually that was no longer working. They kept printing money. The cost of things keep going up, up, and up, right? Well, now we're to the place today. You got both mom and dad working full-time. They're driving Uber on the weekend, and they're no longer middle class. They're not even middle class anymore. The average income in the United States per household is $74,000 a year. Okay? If you want to buy a house in the United States, it costs roughly 400 grand. To qualify for a loan on a house of 400 grand, you have to make 120 grand a year. But they only make 74 grand a year. We have a $55,000 disconnect. And this is the epidemic. You can hear the Republicans talk about it. You can hear the Democrats talk about it. And I don't care which party you like or which party you vote for, it's not about to change. Things are going to keep getting more and more expensive, and the middle class keeps continuing to shrink. And the problem is that everyone is subscribing to the old model of go to school, get good grades, get a degree, get a job, and it's all going to be okay. It ain't going to be okay. It ain't going to be okay. And people in mass numbers are beginning to figure that out, which is why the fastest growing segment of the global economy happens to be what's called the gig economy. People are looking for an extra way to make money. I mean, how many of you know someone that drives Uber or Lyft? They do DoorDash, Airbnb, Instacart. They're doing Amazon, eBay, making YouTube videos, TikTok videos, right? They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff to try to get by because the old model no longer works. So we have an explosion in travel, and we have an explosion of people looking to make money. And those two massive mega trends cross at a place called Travoria, where we can show people how to travel for less. That is a stone cold fact. We're showing people how to make their dreams come true. We are doing things in travel that have never, ever been done before. We're bringing a brand new model to the travel industry, and it's one that people absolutely love. In fact, if you think about the travel industry being a $15.5 trillion industry, if we only capture 1/4 of 1%, let me say that again, 1/4 of 1%, the tiniest little sliver of this industry, and we are a $38 billion company, bigger than Netflix. Netflix does about $32 billion a year in sales. That is what we are embarking upon, and all of you guys are sitting here at the very beginning. Okay? So, what I'm encouraging you to do if you want to be an ambassador, you want to be a 5-star ambassador, you want to be an executive chairman, is how do I take my business a little more seriously? How do I take my skill set and raise it up? How do I take my business to the next level? How do I go capture this unique moment I found myself in of being in the right place at the right time? Okay? And it's a very simple skill set. You don't have to become a heart surgeon. You don't have to become a brain surgeon. You don't have to become a CPA or an attorney. You simply have to learn how to invite people. How to invite someone to take a look at what we're doing. Now, how do I invite someone? I found something I'm excited about. It may or may not be for you. Are you open to taking a look? Tough stuff, guys. Tough stuff, right? Hey, I found something I'm excited about. It may or may not be for you. But are you open to taking a look? Hey, I got a good story. Takes about 2 minutes. Might make you a lot of money, might not. Want to hear it? I got a good story. Takes about 2 minutes. Might make you a lot of money, might not. Want to hear it? How hard is that to do? There's 1,000 other scripts that we can teach you. Cynthia Sly had one just recently, right? She says, hey, look, I found a way we can cash in and get paid on the $10 trillion travel industry. And if you'll come and see a quick presentation, I would be happy to give you a gift card, a Starbucks card, take you to dinner, right? I mean, literally bribing someone to come take a look at what we're doing. There's 1,000 different ways you can invite people to look at our business. It is a very simple skill set. However, there's 4 foundational beliefs that you have to have in order to succeed in our business. Number 1, you have to believe in the industry. Number 2, you have to believe in the company. Number 3, you have to believe in the product. And number 4, you have to believe in yourself. Okay? Now, believing in the company, that's not too hard to do. We're in our 12th year. right? We're going to do 50 million in the next 12 months. We're doubling in size every 8 months. David Hart, our CEO and founder, was a finalist for Entrepreneur of the Year. I wonder if they're going to succeed. I mean, it ain't hard to believe in the company, right? The product, the single largest industry in the world, the one thing everybody wants to do, and we can show people how to do it for half the price. It's not too hard to believe in the product. The problem that most people have is believing in themselves or believing in the industry, okay? So let's talk about you for a moment, because that is a big weakness. Every single one of us, present company included, David Hart included, we all have our demons. The devil's after us all. We got that little person sitting on the shoulder telling us that we're not good enough. We're not tall enough, obviously. We're not good looking enough, obviously, right? We're not smart enough. We're not this, we're not that. Every single one of us has that little person trying to tell us it ain't going to happen for us. You know, maybe that's going to happen for other people, but it ain't going to happen for me, right? That is true for every single one of you. And I just want to tell you right now that every single one of you were created in the image of the Almighty God, right? God, there are no accidents. God don't make no junk. You are 100% an absolute original. Even if you're an identical twin, you have a different fingerprint than your identical twin. Your DNA is a little bit different than your identical twin. There has never been a human being on this entire planet that's exactly like you. You are a 100% magnificent, unique creation. And every one of you is a champion. And I can prove that right now. When you were being conceived, okay, at the height of your father's passion, there were about 10 million little swimmers that were swimming toward that little egg. And out of the 10 million swimmers, you were the winner. You were the winner. You will never have that kind of competition again the rest of your life, right? You are already a champion, okay? Just recognize your own magnificent, incredible, unique weirdness, because we're all a little weird in our own way. Celebrate it, right? Embrace it, and just realize that any one of you, if you decide to, can become a success in our business, okay? Which brings us to the next problem. Believing in the industry. And a lot of you brought this up yesterday because you got this thing. Man, the company's great. Travel's the biggest industry in the world. We're showing people how to do it at a price no one's ever seen before. People are looking to make money. It's the greatest thing, except it's one of those things, right? Is this one of those pyramid things? That's the question that comes up. That's the thing that brings growing men and women to their very knees, right? I would do it. It looks great, but it's one of those things. Now, number one, I asked the question, who told you this is one of those things? Who told you that? Who told you this industry was bad? Where'd that come from? Maybe it was the student loan people who handed out all of the student loan money. Now, by the way, you realize if I borrow money to go start a McDonald's, and if it doesn't work, I can file bankruptcy. I file BK, the loan is forgiven, I move on with my life. But student loan debt, no, that's like a tattoo. It ain't ever going away, right? That is going to be with you for the rest of your life. And they're handing out that student loan debt, and those kids are buried in debt for life. So maybe it was the people handing out the student loans that told you, don't go near that thing. No, that's bad. You will borrow a lot of money. You will go to college. You will always be in debt. Get a job, live paycheck to paycheck. Struggle to pay your bills, okay? Maybe it was those people that told you that was bad. Maybe it was the university who took all of that money and then gave you a piece of paper that doesn't even allow you to make enough money to pay back the very loan you just took to go to college. Maybe it was those people that told you You don't want to go there. That's bad, right? Maybe it was them that told you that. Maybe it was your employer who pays you just enough to survive. Pays you just enough so you can live paycheck to paycheck. Whoa, you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to. Who told you this industry was bad? Now, I want you to think, how many of you are on Facebook or Instagram?
Everybody.
Look around. Keep your hands up. How many of you are on Facebook or Instagram? 100%. Okay? Now, Facebook and Instagram, they have 3 billion users. That's 40% of the global population. Now, Facebook and Instagram have never, ever advertised. Ever. How do you get 40% of the population to sign up for your platform when you've never advertised?
Word of mouth.
And you think back and you're like, oh, that's right. I invited my friends invited their friends invited their friends invited their friends, right? And they made Mark Zuckerberg the 8th richest man in the entire world. In fact, you know he just bought a $500 million yacht? He bought a $500 million yacht. And when I first read that, okay, but it didn't really hit me until I read he bought a $34 million support boat that services the $500 million yacht. He bought a $34 million boat he'll never go on. That boat's for the employees to run back and forth and bring food, and fresh drinks, and fresh lobster, right? Hey, yeah, go to town and bring me some stuff. He bought a $34 million boat to support the $500 million yacht, right? How did he get all of that money?
Word
Look
of
in the
mouth.
mirror. You and me. He tricked 3 billion people into becoming network marketers and didn't pay him for it. He tricked 3 billion people into becoming network marketers and didn't pay for it. And that's good. That's a reputable company. Well done, Mark. Well done. Reputable company, right? But if I go to Las Vegas, Nevada, and I was there about a week ago, and me and Gina saved $200 a night on our room. $200 a night on our room. And I tell a friend about that. And they say, wow, I'm going to Vegas. Maybe I should sign up for this thing. So they sign up for our service because they heard from a friend about how much money they saved. Then they go to Las Vegas and they save money. And David Hart says, thank you for sending me a customer. I want to send you a check. Whoa, don't bring that stuff near me again. Who told you that was bad? Whose side are you on, right? And when you start thinking about it in those terms, you're like, where did that come from? But let's break down this pyramid thing in greater detail. So, number one, a lot of your friends and family who say this is one of those pyramid things. They look just like the people on the screen. So this morning, I had to drive to this meeting, okay? Now, it's pretty rare that I'm ever up at this time of morning, okay? That's a rare thing. Okay? Let alone be on the road going anywhere, right? Usually I'm still in bed. But this morning, I had to come here. So I'm on the road, and it's backed up, right? I mean, they're inching along. People are honking their horn, right? You got guys like here on the screen yelling at everyone, about to pop a vein, right? And these are the people who tell you that what you're doing is bad. You ought to come do what I'm doing. They can't pay their bills. They go to work. They got a boss that's screaming at them, yelling at them. They're not appreciated. Being told what time to be there, what time to go to lunch, what time they can go home. Hey, I got a kid playing a football game today. Can I go to the game? No? Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, my daughter's getting an award at school. Can I go to that? No? Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, if you're going to do this, right? The traffic, the boss, for the next 40 years, living paycheck to paycheck, so that you can try to retire on 40% of the income you couldn't afford to live on to begin with. And that's good? Who told you that, right? Now, the network marketing industry, direct selling, it is the oldest distribution channel known to man. It dates back to the very origins of civilization. Way back when, that's how they sold stuff, right? People didn't get on Amazon back in the prehistoric times. People went to people's doors and told them about products and services, and that's how things were sold. Today, the network marketing industry has gotten bigger, okay? Now I'm going to read you something, okay? This comes from a book. In most Americans' minds, it's a scam and a scheme. It's unethical at best, immoral and illegal at worst. Many own your own entrepreneur hopefuls have been hyped into turning over their life savings only to see the company go out of business. Politicians, regulators, and the media regularly cry foul when they're talking about this industry. Okay? There's even been a movement in the United States Congress to outlaw this industry altogether. Am I talking about A, cryptocurrency? Am I talking about B, franchising? Am I talking about C, network marketing? Or am I talking about D, boiler rooms that sell investments? Any guesses? C?
All the above.
And the answer in the 1950s was B, franchising.
Yeah, I remember that.
What I just read to you was what they said about franchising in the 1950s. They almost outlawed franchising altogether. Most people are like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember that.
McDonald's? Oh, you fell for the McDonald's scam? Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? You don't want to do McDonald's. What's wrong with you? That's what people said back in the 1950s. The same stuff they're saying about network marketing today, they said about franchising way back when. Now, franchising is 30 years ahead on the evolutionary curve than network marketing, okay? They're further along than we are. Now, today, the network marketing industry does just under $200 billion a year in sales. Let me put that in perspective. That is bigger, that is 20 times the size as the National Football League. So football season started again. You see people on Sunday wearing the jerseys. You see the stadiums packed. You turn on any television channel, football, 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 more football, right? And they do about $10 billion a year. But the network marketing industry does almost $200 billion a year, okay? There's 128 million people who participate in one of those pyramid things, okay? 128 million people. That is bigger than the population of France and Spain combined. So the network marketing industry is growing exponentially. Now, if you were seeking financial advice, seeking career advice, who do you think would have better advice? Your friends and family, represented here by the Simpsons? Or do you think people like Warren Buffett and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, who do you think would have better financial advice? Probably the billionaires, yes? So, network marketing. How many of you know this guy on the screen, Warren Buffett?
Warren Buffett.
He happens to be the 5th richest man in the entire world. Okay? He also happens to own one of the largest pyramid companies in the United States called Pampered Chef.
What?
Yeah. Warren Buffett owns Pampered Chef.
Wow.
In fact, he owns 3 different direct selling companies. Warren Buffett, the 5th richest man in the entire world, says on network marketing, one of the best investments I've ever made. So you got friends and family who say, oh, don't bring that stuff near me. And they can't even pay their bills. They're broke. They're living paycheck to paycheck. And I got the 5th richest man in the entire world saying, man, I'll take out one company, I think I'll buy 3 of them. Okay? Now, how many of you ever heard of a guy named Carl Icahn?
Yep.
He's one of the most famous investors in the United States. He's one of the richest men in the world. I think he's ranked number 17 or 19, somewhere in there. He's obviously notorious for being able to invest money and make money on his money. And Carl Icahn, by the way, happened to invest in network marketing. One of the richest men in the world has been putting his money in network marketing companies, Herbalife to be specific. How many of you ever heard of a guy named George Soros? Again, one of the richest men in the world. He also, George Soros Fund, right here. Oops, hold on. George Soros Fund Management increased its holdings in Herbalife, a network marketing company, a pyramid thing, by roughly 80%, according to regulatory filings. Most of your friends and family, don't bring that stuff near me. And billionaires like, how do I give you some of that? Because they understand the times. They understand the trend. They understand that the old model is no longer working. They understand that more and more people are looking for a new way to make money. They understand that advertising on television, how many of you watch commercials on television? Or how many of you DVR your show and fast forward through all the commercials? It's getting tougher and tougher to reach the consumer. Word of mouth is still king. How many of you guys have ever heard of Virgin Airlines?
Yep.
Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactic, they're putting people in space. It's owned by Sir Richard Branson. He used to be Richard Branson until the Queen knighted him. Now he's Sir Richard Branson, okay? But he's a billionaire from the UK. By the way, Sir Richard Branson was the keynote speaker at the Pyramid Convention, the Network Marketing Convention, about 4 years ago. Sir Richard Branson said, you all ought to get into a pyramid thing because this is the way things are going, right? Your friends and family, ooh, don't bring that stuff near me. Sir Richard Branson says this is where things are going. How many of you ever heard of a little bank called Citibank? You all heard of Citibank? Okay, this means yes, this means no. Okay. You've all heard of Citibank, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Citibank, by the way, has $2.47 trillion under management. Okay? Let me put that in perspective. The country of France only does 2.6 trillion. This is a bank that's bigger than most European countries. So Citibank, big, respected, international financial firm. Oh yeah, and they happen to own the biggest pyramid company in the United States called Primary. What? Citibank owns one of them pyramid things? Yeah, they own Primerica. You got friends and family, don't bring that near me. Citibank says we think we'll buy the biggest pyramid scheme in the United States. I mean, guys, most of your friends and family are behind the trend, okay? If they were ahead of the trend, they probably would have bought stock in Apple. They would have bought stock in Google, right? They would have bought stock in Amazon. Most people are behind the trend. I had a father at Amazon, ain't going anywhere. If I can't look somebody in the eye, I'll never buy a product from them, right? I mean, today that sounds pretty stupid, right? Most people, right, are behind the trend. You guys are ahead of the trend. You may not get your friends and family to understand what we're talking about, but at least know that you are on the right side of the trend, and eventually they're going to catch up. Eventually they're going to figure it out. They may not figure it out today, but they'll eventually figure it out. How many of you ever heard of this guy, right? Now, before he was a politician, okay, before he became president, put all that to the side.
And he's a smart.
He obviously made a lot of money. And he was on, it was Johnny Carson. And they said if you lost all of your money, if you had to start over from scratch, what would you do? And he says, I would go into the network marketing industry. So Donald Trump said I would go into network marketing, that's what I would do. How many of you ever heard of Jennifer Lopez?
Yep.
Cindy Crawford?
Yeah.
Jane Seymour? Victoria Principal? These are all iconic brands. And they're all owned and controlled by a company called Guthrie Rinker. It's in Palm Springs, California. They do almost $2 billion a year in sales. They do infomercials. They are the largest infomercial company in the world, doing $2 billion a year in sales. Oh yeah, they happen to own a pyramid company called Max. This is Steven Scott. How many of you ever heard of the Total Gym? See the commercials? The Total Gym, Chuck Norris, Christy Brinkley. Steven Scott owns the Total Gym, and he happens to own 2 pyramid companies in the network marketing industry. This is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Wrote the book Cash Flow Quadrant. Not only does he recommend network marketing, him and Donald Trump wrote a book together saying, here's why we recommend you get involved in a pyramid thing. Okay? So they actually wrote a book telling people this is the direction things are going. You got friends and family who don't bring that stuff near me, and you got billionaires and Citibank saying this is where things are going. Your friends and family may not want to join you, but understand they're on the wrong side of the trend. This is Tony Blair. He was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. You've all heard of that little country called, the Great Britain, right?
Yes.
You've all heard of that? He was the Prime Minister. He also happens to be a fan of the network marketing industry. How many of you know this guy? Bill Clinton, President of the United States. He's also a supporter of the network marketing industry. This is the former Prime Minister of India. He says network marketing is the fastest growing of the 21st century, which must be joined by every young man and women globally. Otherwise, you can never get the best out of your youth age.
Wow.
That's the former Prime Minister of Italy, or of India. This is David Bach. He's written all kinds of best-selling books in the area of finances. He used to not like network marketing. And then he said, when I read in Fortune magazine that Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, was investing in a direct sales network marketing company, I decided maybe I'm missing something. And then he became a fan of the network marketing industry. This happened. How many of you guys heard the book Chicken Soup for the Soul? Okay? Famous book series, Mark Victor Hansen. In fact, I actually got to introduce Mark Victor Hansen at a conference a number of years back. I was there with Daryl Maria Roberts. I got to introduce him, and he came and was the keynote speaker at our Pyramid event, right? But they are big-time fans of the network marketing business. This is Brian Tracy. He's an international global consultant for Fortune 500 companies. Also a huge advocate of the network marketing industry. This is Harry S. Dent Jr. He happens to be one of the greatest predictors of what's going to happen in the global economy. And he's also telling people you might want to get involved in one of the pyramid things. This happens to be Dr. Charles King. He wrote a book called The New Professionals. By the way, if you have to buy that book, I'm quoted in it. It's a small little quote, but I got quoted in the book. But Dr. Charles King was the head of marketing at the University of Illinois. And he literally taught classes at the University. You could get college credit for learning how to do one of the pyramid things if you went to his class back when he was alive. This is the also former Prime Minister of India, also a big fan of the network marketing business. This is Bill Farley. How many of you ever heard of Fruit of the Loom? Some of the guys might even be wearing some right now, okay? Right? How many of the women have ever heard of Christian Dior or Jordache? Okay? Got some of the people there? Bill Farley's the guy behind all those companies. He lives next door to Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's his neighbor. Oh yeah, and he happens to own a pyramid company called Strand. Anybody getting the idea here? We got a lot of friends and family. Don't bring that stuff near me. And how many billionaires I got to show you, or politicians saying, hey, you know what? This is the direction things are going. This is Paul Zane Pilzer. He was raved about by Sam Walton. He actually predicted the S&L crash, the savings and loan crash in our country, long before it happened. I mean, he's a world-renowned economist. And this is him on the front cover of Network Marketing Magazine, one of the most famous economists in the world. On the front cover of Network Marketing Magazine, ripping his shirt open that says the next trillion. The next trillion. Friends and family, really smart people getting involved in the industry. Tony Robbins. A lot of you heard of Tony Robbins? He was also a keynote speaker at the Pyramid Convention a few years ago. This is Mr. Jim Rohn. Some of you guys know Jim Rohn. He's considered to be one of the most quoted speakers in the world. By the way, he made his first $1 million doing exactly what you're doing right now. He made his first $1 million in the network marketing business. This is Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How many of you ever heard of Sprint and T-Mobile? Ever hear of Sprint, T-Mobile? How many of you knew that Sprint got all of its original customers from a network marketing company?
No.
They started Network 2000 because back when you used to have one telephone company in the United States, one company. They got broke up as a monopoly. Okay, you can't have one company, you got to go create multiple companies. Here comes MCI, here comes Sprint. Okay? And they hired people like Joan Rivers to get on television and scream at us. What, are you crazy? You want to pay more? But people didn't move. It's like, they're new. If I try to call grandma back on the East Coast, I mean, do they have the phone lines yet? Is it going to work? They didn't realize that everybody had access to the same phone lines. They didn't realize you just choose the billing plan. So they had to go, MCI went to Amway. That's where they got their first 2 million customers, was Amway. And Sprint started its own network marketing company called Network 2000, and that's where all of their original customers came from. So even Sprint and MCI got their original customer bases from doing one of those pyramid things, right? Again, most of your friends and family are like, I didn't know that, right? This is Megan Fox, Cristiano Ronaldo, Chuck Norris, Carmen Electra, Manny Pacquiao. These are just a few of the celebrities that are involved in one of the pyramid things, okay? So guys, I know that you got friends and family. that have opinions about what we do. But most of those opinions are wrong. Most of those opinions are on the wrong side of a trend. Now, finally, if you don't like network marketing, okay, you're probably going to have a problem with the Christian faith. Because if you look at how Jesus built his ministry, he went and recruited 12. He says, I'm going to teach you to be the fisher of men. What do you think that means to be the fisher of men? They were recruiters. They went house to house, town to town, told the story, got rejected. Jesus taught them how to deal with rejection. One dropped out, even happened to Christ. And from there, they built the single largest organization in the world called the Christian Church with 2.5 billion people in the downline. Okay? So, again, if you look at the Christian Church, they follow the same fundamentals that we do as a network marketing company. Now, here is the greatest irony of all. People say this is one of those pyramid things, okay? The greatest irony of all is that network marketing is the only form of business. If you're going to write something down, write that down. It is the only form of business. I'm going to say it 3 times. It is the only form of business that we know of that does not, N-O-T, not form a pyramid. A network marketing company looks more like the Washington Monument than the pyramids of Egypt. They come out like a pyramid on top. They come down very, 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 very deep, and then they eventually shrink at the bottom. Looks nothing like the pyramids of Egypt. Nothing like it. Now, on the other hand, I pulled this off the Catholic website. This is their hierarchy. This isn't my slide. This is the Catholic website slide. We got the Pope, we got the cardinals, we got the archbishops, we got the bishops, we got the priests, we got the deacons, we got all the people at the bottom. What shape does that make? That ain't my shape. What shape does that make? It's a pyramid. This is the Syrian military chain of command. I have no idea why they have their chain of command on Google, but they do. Okay? That is the Syrian military chain of command. What shape does that make? It's a pyramid. This is where most of your friends and family, don't bring that stuff near me. This is where they happen to work. Okay? If I were talking about Facebook, and I said, man, who makes the most money at Facebook? People are like, man, I don't know. I got to think about that one. Everybody knows who makes the most money at Facebook. It's Mark Zuckerberg. He's the guy on top, right? Who makes the second most amount of money at Facebook? Well, there'll be Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer. Who makes the third? Well, we got the CFO, we got the VP of sales, right? We come all the way down. Who makes the least amount of money at Facebook, right? And we all know the answer. It's the guys on the bottom actually doing all the work. Now, let me switch the subject here real quick. Let's pretend for one moment we're talking about the Chrysler Corporation or General Motors. Pretend that I work at General Motors, okay? And I'm one of the guys on the factory line. And I'm out there like running the machine, right? Bring me another one, right? And I'm just going at it, man. Bring me another one. And I'm like doing twice the production of anybody else. Can I make more money than my immediate supervisor?
No.
What? No. Whoa, hold on. You're telling me that my income is dictated based on where I happen to lie within the pyramid structure. Okay. Now, Eager and Larissa. How many of you ever heard of Eager and Larissa? When I look at my downline report, they're about 200 levels below me. And they make more money than every single person above them. Now, wait a minute. How can they make more money than everyone above them if this is a pyramid? Because where most people work is a pyramid, but we look more like this. And in our structure, it's not based on where you land in the pyramid that dictates your income. It's what you do. This is a meritocracy. If you go build a bigger organization, if you work harder, you get paid more money. Now, the people above you can get a little piece of that, but it doesn't mean that you won't make more money than your sponsor or anyone else above you. It's one of the greatest ironies of all. The only form of business we know of that does not form a pyramid. It is the equal level playing ground. Our computer does not know whether you are male, female, or other. It used to be 2 categories, now we got 3. Male, female, or other. Okay? Our computer does not know whether you are Christian, Muslim, or Hindu. Our computer does not know whether you are brown, black, green, purple, white, or red. It does not care about any of that. It only says you have X number of cells in your left leg, X number of cells in your right leg. Cut them a check. It's not about whose butt you're kissing at work. It's not about, did I go to the right schools? Do I have the right connections? Right? None of that applies. It is the equal, ultimate level playing ground. Now, when you look at what we do as an industry, we're showing people how to create residual income. And people are beginning to learn that if you want to survive in the new economy, you're going to have to learn how to make residual income. Now, we have with us today an incredible story. We have Ambassador Deborah Taylor in the room. In fact, I'm going to be bringing her up here in about 2 seconds. And when you get to meet Ambassador Deborah Taylor and you get to hear her story, she worked for 2 different White House administrations. She worked for both the Obama White House and the Bush White House. And so she was doing very well. But her husband, he got sick. He had a lot of things going on. She went back home to be with her husband. He was in the ICU. In fact, she joined this business while her husband was in the ICU. Okay? When he got out of the ICU, he got better. They began to build the business. She went out and told 3 people. When you tell 3 people, what happens? Man, I got my membership being covered, right?
Paid for.
She's got all these travel points coming in, right? They began to travel. They were going from place to place. They were living in resorts, visiting home. Her husband's name was Guy Taylor. So they were travel guy and travel girl, right? And they were having the time of their life. And Pastor Guy says, you know, I think I'm going to sign up too. So he signed up himself. And he went and told 3 people. And now he's got a membership that ain't costing him anything on an ongoing basis. He's got all these travel points coming in. They're taking even more trips. They're posting on social media where they're going and how much they're paying. People are like, wow, wait a minute, how'd you get that rate? It's this travel thing we joined. What travel thing and how do we join? They begin to grow their business. Next thing you know, Deborah's she's a 3-star director, right? Making $3,000 a month. Her husband's a 2-star director, making $2,000 a month. So between the 2 of them, they were making $5,000 a month, right? 3-star plus 2-star, they were 5-star directors, okay? So anyway, so she's making $3,000 a month, he's making $2,000 a month. Well, then his health issues came back. And Pastor Guy ended up passing away. But when Pastor Guy passed away, that $2,000 per month check, that check didn't go away. That check keeps coming in every single month, like an oil well. It just keeps pumping. The only question is, who's the check go to? Is that check going to go to your spouse, your kids, your grandkids? The Bible says a good person is going to leave a legacy, not just to their kids, but to their grandkids, right? Going to leave an inheritance, not just to the kids, but to the grandkids. So that check keeps coming in. You can leave it to your kids, your grandkids, your goldfish, your dog, I mean, whoever you want to leave it to, right? That's who the check's going to go to. Well, in this case, the check went to Deborah. But Deborah's like, wait a minute, I don't need his. My check's bigger than his check. I don't need his check. I got my own check. So she gave it to the grandkids, Ava and Gracie. They were 4 years old and 6 years old at the time. So they got $2,000 a month coming in. A 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. $2,000 a month coming in. Goes into a trust account. Gets invested on their behalf. 31 months later, because all those people saving money kept telling people, the business continued to grow. They went from making $2,000 a month, right, to making 3-star director $3,000 a month, 4-star director. Then he became an ambassador. Then he became a 1-star ambassador. He's about to become a 2-star ambassador. He's gone from 2-star director at the time of his death to almost being a 2-star ambassador with a multiple 6-figure residual income. And that's happened since he died. He's making more money. In fact, he's making twice as much money as all your friends. Oh, don't bring that stuff near me. Since he died. So when people say, is this one of those things? You say, damn right it's one of those things. And the only question is, why are you not in one of those things? Or maybe you've not heard the story of Pastor Guy and Pastor Deborah Taylor. It's one of those things. Yeah, one of those things that could change your life, change your kids' lives. His granddaughters will be millionairesses because of what he did. That last ditch effort before he died. And so with that, without any further ado, let's bring up Ambassador Deborah Taylor. They've got an almost 1-star ambassadorship in one position, almost a 2-star ambassadorship in the other position. They are absolutely kicking butt, taking names, changing lives. I give you Ambassador Deborah Taylor.